Welcome to Samutsari, Conversations with Mimi, a weekly podcast by Social, also a member of the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate. Samutsari is where we can show that ordinary people do extraordinary things. Tune in to be entertained and to learn something new with your host, Mimi Lorilla.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Samutsari, Conversations with Mimi. This is your host, Mimi Laurilia. This is a podcast featuring hot topics and obviously topics of interest to men and women alike. We feature guests who share their passion and commitment to their profession or talents. And here at Samutsari, we share stories to inspire you with everything that's going on with other people that do extraordinary things. And Samutsari is also a member of the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate, so I'm very thankful for them for including me in their network of podcasters. So today I have with me back Tita Mimi Ocampo, but she has a plus one. A plus one, and this is the love of her life, Tito Ocampo. So hello again to both of you, and please greet my audience, listeners, viewers. I'm getting confused because this is a podcast and also this is a YouTube video cast. So you never know who is listening or viewing us. But at any rate, please say hello to everybody. Hello again.
Hello to everybody.
Okay, thank you po. Our topic for today is obviously about couples, okay, married couples, and I think the most appropriate title for my show today is Tips to Keep a Happy and Healthy Married Life. And I believe that the two of you are a couple that need to be, when we say couple goals, we need to strive to become like you. How to be you po? How to be you?
Wow.
Wow.
Tall order.
So, as you know, I am already an orphan. I lost my dad 7 years ago, and I lost my mom this year. So definitely, I only have my husband and my kids for my support because my brother is in Canada. He's so far away. There are only two of us children. So I really admire couples like you who have been together for a long time and still going strong. So I think it's best to introduce you by letting you tell your story. Who is Mimi and Pete in your relationship, and what's going on right now? Can you give us a little bit of a taste of your life as a married couple?
I'll let Pete first do the talking because I already talked much in your previous show.
It's okay. Let's give Tito Pete the floor.
Okay.
Okay, well, maybe we're not really an outstanding. We're just an ordinary couple. Trying to live life, simple living, with 3 children already well established in life, 10 grandchildren in life. We both worked at the university, and that is where we met. But of course, it was some
53 years ago.
But Mimi stayed with the university since then after her retirement. But I didn't stay with the university long. I left the university in 1994 and went to the Department of Health. Mm-hmm. So initially, we were together professionally and domestically. But at a certain point in time, I had to go to Manila to work there. Me?
Okay.
Me naman. Okay. I think we have to tell this. Our 3 children were so fortunate that they were schooled at UP Los Baños, just like you. And because I'm employed with the university, my children studied under free tuition fee arrangement. Mm-hmm. And so, for faculty dependents, they can study. For as long as they pass the UCAT, the college admission test, they can study for almost free. So our eldest became an ophthalmologist. Taking up medicine is a very expensive proposition, but we're so lucky. Again, thanks to UP, he got free, almost free medical education. And then the second, your classmate, Oliver, is an agribusiness and also employed with the university this time. Cherish is in England. For a while, she was into wildlife studies. She even went to Ghana, Africa, to practice her profession. And so we're that very fortunate to have UP Los Baños as our
Alma mater.
Yeah, we met there, and our children also got their education there.
Mhm.
Even yes, we already have 2 grandchildren schooling at UP Rural High, your own
Wow.
alma mater as well.
Yes. Wow. So the grandkids are doing well, and your children are obviously doing well in their chosen fields of endeavor. I just want to backtrack a little bit in terms of Tito Pete's profession, because in our last previous episode, Tita Mimi had already explored her community development background. And in that episode, I mentioned to her that she is appropriate to be called an ambassador because of the many things that she does. But Tito Pete, you chose to specialize, I think, in the agriculture field, and you were also in charge of the National Dairy Program. My husband works at the dairy plant at the moment, so they're processing milk. So can you give us a little bit about your profession, your role in the dairy program, and being the director, I think. Can you also tell us a little bit about the state of the dairy program in the Philippines, even if it's just a very quick snapshot of what it is?
Okay. When I left the university in 1995, I was assigned to the National Dairy Authority. As the administrator, I was in charge of the whole national program.
You should not be too humble. He was the first administrator of the National Dairy Authority.
Very humble.
We had this national program. We tried to establish cooperatives engaged in dairy production. But it's not simple production, that's integrated dairy production. Production, processing, marketing, the whole dairy chain. That is what we had to establish. And I think as of today, a dairy industry has started to develop in the Philippines because the volume of milk has increased, the number of farmers have increased. What happened, however, about early 2000, I was assigned to the Livestock Development Council, and I was in charge of the National Livestock Program. So it was not simply the dairy program, but the whole livestock program. It was beef, swine, health, the whole things. So I was fortunate to work on those assignments until I retired in 2007.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that the agricultural sector, especially in the livestock industry, for example, the dairy industry, do you feel that there is still a role to help the country flourish, given the climate of doing, for example, exporting other products rather than producing our own? Do you think there's still a hope to thrive?
The prospects for the livestock sector are really bright. If you look at the dairy sector, for example, as they say, we are only producing less than 1% of the total production. But this has significantly increased because the targets of dairy production now is not simply to be self-sufficient or to produce all that we need. The target is to develop an integrated dairy industry controlled by the dairy farmers. And this is what the shift. Dairy farmers, cooperatives are the ones engaged in the whole dairy chain. It is not the government. It used to be the government was producing and collecting the milk. That's not true now. It's the private sector, cooperatives are doing this. So if this can be sustained, we have now the beginnings of a truly indigenous dairy industry, starting from the grassroots.
Okay.
The livestock sector, on the other hand, the prospects are very bright. We're doing very well with respect to the swine and the poultry industry. We can compete with other Asian countries in terms of production and productivity. So we will continue to pursue this. Plus the policy support from the government in terms of incentives and in terms of certain other support systems, especially health, would continue to be done.
Wow. I feel like I'm so privileged today having both experts in one Zoom meeting in my podcast with a lot of wealth of information, with a lot of your extensive experience, and lucky that the UPLB community still have these experts, although some of them are obviously retired like yourselves. There's still that wealth of knowledge spreading around. So I really feel privileged to be an ISCA, a graduate of UPLB, because that's where I also grew up, and that's where I my parents found each other. So similarly to you probably found each other in the university. So because we're talking about your love story today, how did you know that each other is the one? How did you know? Because when you're in the university setting, there's so many boys and girls floating around in the sea of the student population. So can you give us a little bit of a backtrack in history of the time when you met each other and thought that each other is the perfect partner?
I will start first. We didn't meet while we were studying. We didn't meet while students, but we met in the course of our work. My first job in the university, and also his first job in the university. Yeah, and so for 7 months we were colleagues and friends. That's all. But suddenly one morning he came to our house and courted me. And the following day, well, we engaged. He came back, and with the confluence of many factors, yes, we got engaged. And count 11 days, we were married. Yes. So I think this guy is very lucky. He didn't spend much in courting me, because he was very fast in the draw. When he came to our house, there was this other guy who was proposing marriage to me before going to the United States. But he answered for me. He said, he mentioned the name of the guy. I know you are paying court to this girl, but I am in love with her, and I know she is in love with me. And when he was looking at me, I just said yes, and that's it. So on that second day, we became engaged, and so that was it. He was so clever, so persistent, so methodological in his work, very systematic. He's got something in between his two ears, and so I said, he's the one.
Are you referring to me?
He's the one.
I'm not sure.
What a very unique story, because I think nowadays we would tell the younger generation to really kilatis or really hold back a bit before they choose the one, because it's more dangerous now to be involved in an online relationship, for example. You don't really know the person, but during your time you were really sure. So Tito Pete, how did you know that Tita Mimi is different from all the girls?
I knew that she was the one then. But this thing about knowing she is the one, knowing that she is the one is not a static concept. It's dynamic. The Mimi to 1994 is not the same Mimi as today. In 2000, when was I married? 1960. The Mimi in 1967 is not the same Mimi today. People change. We change. We grew together. So the confirmation of whether she is the one is done as we live to married life.
That's
to
right.
trials, to successes, to whatever. In the daily rhythm of life, this is when you validate that she is the one. If in 1967 she was the one, even with married life, we continue to discover that she is the one. Then that is the one.
Wow. How I wish my husband would say the same to me every year, that there's an affirmation that I am the one.
No, but that's really how it is. You know, in marriage, you grow together as a couple, right? You change. But the point is that you grow together, you know, as you grow together, you carry the same thing. Parang sabay kayong nag-grow together. And you keep on discovering every day, she is the one. Parang nagluluto, inaaway ka or something, but you still know that she is the one.
Wow. Okay. I think you're one of the most patient human beings. Tito Mimi, can you add to that?
No, yeah, but I think what really made me look at him in a pedestal, you know, in no matter how short our courtship days were, is that passion, the same passion for work,
Yes.
especially for rural development and the upliftment of farmers' lives.
Yes.
We have also the same work ethics. We enjoy working, and that's why I'm able to do things, you know, allowing me to go where work is, where work demands my going here and there. So I call him the wind beneath my wings.
Yes.
Yeah, he gives me the push. Yeah, even in my work, he props me up.
Wow.
The passion for work, the passion for rural development, the passion to uplift the life of farmers. I think that was the tie that bound us in our early marriage and well into our married life. Of course, now things have changed because I've retired, but it's still that passion within.
So my takeaway from what you just said is really the way that will bind you together is your similarity in terms of your values, your work ethic. Although you are two different persons, but if there's something that you like about each other and you emulate about each other, that really will draw you closer to the other person. Am I right?
Let him talk first.
Yes. But no, if you look at it, we are really a study in contrast. Mimi is very sociable, extremely. I tend to be introverted. She's a Protestant. I'm a Catholic. She's socially active. I'm introverted. She likes Frank Sinatra. I like Johnny Cash. She likes romantic ballads. I like folk country music. She likes the warm weather. I like the cold.
No, I like the cold. You like the warm weather.
It's a litany of differences. But it's still, despite these differences, the marriage, well, I would say strong.
Yeah. I think you are me and Jarvis in a way. We're totally opposites, but we gel. You know, we're the yin and the yang, the sun and the moon. One is introvert, one is extrovert, but we still get along very, very perfectly. Whether we explode during a fight, but we always mend it really, really sweetly. So that works well. So you are more than 50 years of togetherness. Maybe you can tell me a little bit more about that. In each year of marriage, or maybe if it's not every year, definitely there will be milestones that enabled you to reach where you are right now. So can you tell me a little bit more about how do you get to the point of you meeting or reaching the next milestone in your life as a married couple?
Pete has to leave because we have a guest right now.
Okay,
but
that's okay.
He'll be coming back. But again, you were saying, well, we were talking about our similarities and differences a while ago, and then you said something about I didn't get it because I was attending to the visitor who came.
Okay. So I was asking, so now that you are in that stage of your married life, obviously you will have certain milestones, I think, that you want to reach or yeah.
Okay, now I get it. Actually, there's not much milestones to talk about for the two of us, sometimes that, we just live by the day. No more strategic planning. Not even short-term planning. We just talk, what do we cook for tonight for tomorrow?
That's a short-term
Well,
plan.
yeah, short-term plans. But our milestones now are for our children already, for our grandchildren. We would like to see them become what they'd like to be. And so each time we see those developments, they become milestones already for us. But of course, we look forward to our getting on our 60th
and 70th anniversary.
70th wedding anniversary. We pray that we'll still be living by then. So that's a
Well,
milestone.
I will
we
pray
look
with you
forward
on
to.
that. I will pray with you on that one because to reach 60, 70, 80 is really remarkable. Not everybody gets to that stage. Even, my parents would have had their 50th this year, but obviously they can't do that anymore. But you obviously went past the halfway mark, the 50. So I think you're on your 53rd. So really, I don't doubt for a fact that you will get to that point. But for the younger couples that are listening to us, what is your take on conflict management? How do you handle, differences or possible conflicts or di pagkakaunawaan? What's your strategy, and how would you advise younger couples to deal with that as well?
You talk first.
No, you. Go ahead.
You talk first. I'm giving him this because sometimes when I start talking, then he will say, I have said a lot already. So I let him talk first. Okay.
Yes, maybe Tito Pete, you have your own strategy.
There is no such thing as strategy in terms of resolving conflicts. It comes, it goes. You resolve it, you kiss, you talk about it. But to plan out how to resolve conflict in domestic life, I don't think that's possible at all. But if you resolve conflict, you accept and you tolerate. And the joke is, just say yes, then everything is settled. But that's not entirely true. What is necessary is that we learn to accept and to be tolerant about all these things.
Yeah.
Say sorry. Say sorry. It's necessary. As I was about to say, now in married life, I think the key is for you to simply be yourself. Do not try to be anybody else. Be true. No airs, no pretensions, no nothing. By being yourself, by being ourselves, we have managed to resolve conflicts that way. Because we have learned to accept our differences. Di ba sabi nga ng wise one, a good marriage does not occur when two perfect couples get together. It happens when two imperfect couples learn to live and enjoy each other's differences. So I tend to be guided by this philosophy.
Yeah. There is perfection in imperfection somewhat.
Yes.
You become perfect because you are two different people with imperfections. Tita Mimi, you have something to add?
Yeah, and you learn to love the difference.
I was trying to pick up those keywords that Pete said. It's first is acceptance for what each of one is. Yeah, we're so different, even in religion, but he goes with me every Sunday very regularly. In the same way that I go with him in the Catholic Church. Some people even see me singing with the choir. So I accept his and he accepts mine. We respect each other's beliefs. Respect. And tolerance. I think we have to exercise that not daily in our living. You know, just every day I have to look at what he throws away. Right? Because, I'm the kind who recycles and hoards things. Keeps things from even as late as early as my high school, college years. I have those mementos with me.
Mhm.
And even what the kitchen is, I always see to it that whatever can be salvaged, I keep it. But he's the guy who throws away every day. So I have to be tolerant with that. Well, what do I do? If he throws it away, then I go to the garbage can and then get it back. Yeah, so that's conflict. Yeah, even in those simple things. But it's no reason why we should give up our marriage.
Of course, of course.
What-
It's the same with me.
what
I'm the
we
hoarder in the
will do.
family.
Uh,
This is a very interesting conversation. So you talked about tolerance and patience. Does that equate to, or are those the ingredients to be faithful in a relationship? So let's talk about lots of younger couples now have no tolerance or maybe less tolerance, that just a little bit of a conflict, they opt out of the marriage. So in your situation, what does it mean to be faithful in a relationship considering those, di pagkakaunawaan and lack of tolerance?
There's something that hangs on our wall, like God is the silent listener to our conversation and unseen guest at every meal. One who listens to our conversations every day. And so, when you have God at the center of your marriage, I think it's not only us humans doing something with our relationship. God will make sure that that relationship will prosper. And we made those promises before God, our relationship before God. And Him alone as the center of marriage can make or unmake it. But God is a loving God, and He will make sure that love will always be in the air and will prosper our relationship as husband and wife, as parents to our children.
Yes, God is the center of our marriage.
No
Our
matter
part.
the difference in
No matter-
religion,
We do our part simply by living our marriage according to His word. That's how simple it is. Being faithful in marriage is nothing but simply living married life according to the teachings of the Lord. So there are no complicated statements. It's as simple as living life, married life according to His teachings.
Wow. Okay, so that's another key takeaway for me. Don't complicate things. Just live according to the simplicity and what marriage is designed for. And obviously, God is in the center of it all. So let's move on to another topic, which is intergenerational living. Okay. So my idea of a good family life is my connections with, for example, my lola and lolo, obviously my parents and my kids there. And I think Filipinos are really family oriented, that they as much as possible want to be surrounded by their children and their grandchildren. And Tito Mimi mentioned to me in another episode that you're very blessed to have a number of grandchildren. What can you say about balancing your time between your personal pursuits, being with the grandkids, doing your other community work? Give us a little bit of an insight around that.
well, we are very lucky that our 5 of us, half of the 10 children, are living just beside our house. And so they're our source of joy every morning. There was a time that they will greet us, "Good morning!" Every time we open the window and open the doors, we'll
That's
hear,
the process.
"Good morning!" That's every morning. And so they come to the house. we play with them. They come and play with the organ. No, it's okay with me even if they look at it as a toy.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, okay, let them go. We play with it. They even have microphones, sing karaoke, even the small ones. Even if the microphones are no longer working, they still sing. And they say, Lola na Lola. They take after their Lola, how they love to sing. They dance. Oh, they're so gifted. We have an apo is a ballet, ballerina. One excels in swimming, in sports, in pop music, and etc. We're so very proud of them. Now, how do we balance our being grannies? We're thankful they're not giving us that much problem. Of course, when the nanny goes, the yaya, the domestic helper goes, we pitch in and do our part as grannies. Other than that, we don't have any problem. We love them staying here, and we're able to they're our source of joy.
Yes.
Vitamins. There are our vitamins every day. Supplements.
I think that's what makes you fit and young as well, being with the grandkids.
Yeah.
Before I talk about the grandkids, Mimi has a very particular trait. You talk about intergenerational relationships. Mimi keeps her relationship with her great-grandmother, grandparents, not parents no more, nieces,
Very
the
extended.
whole range of Capes Calabria clan. She maintains the
Father
relationship,
side, mother side.
and she makes it the point to visit when they are sick, to give contributions when they need it, to visit just for an occasion, and to enjoy visiting them at any given time. That's intergenerational. Now, about the grandchildren, it's impossible to quantify the time spent with them. We don't even attempt it. Because clearly, time spent with our grandchildren is the second most joyful moment in my life.
Mhm.
The first, of course, is being with me.
And the children. Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
you're surrounded with family members. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
an everyday occurrence for you both. And obviously, you are now retirees, so you spend more time at home. Do you still do things individually, or has it come down to the default that you now do things together all the time?
Well, there are some work engagements that are given to us individually. But there are times also that we find each other together. Like in some research consultancies, then we get to be together too. But where else are we not together? And we are, okay, I have my own social groups.
Yes.
He has his own. So in that way, we are similar. But when I attend mine and I don't have Pete with me, they will be asking, oh, where is Pete? And in the same way that when he goes to his and I'm not with him, they also ask him, where is Mimi? And so we're almost seen together. Yeah. Other than individual work-based, we have our
Professional and social groups merging together.
I see. Okay, that's
You-
nice. And then you don't find it difficult to work alongside each other if it's a consultancy, for example, because Tita Mimi is the creative one, so she has her own ideas, and Tito Pete seems to be the technical expert on this. So how do you make sure that those things you do don't clash?
again.
It classes. There's
Clashes.
It clashes, but we also end it peacefully, amicably, amiably, and with a kiss. That settles it.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That you don't let those little differences get in the way of succeeding in whatever little thing that you do. So, can you give us some tips on how to become a happy spouse or a good spouse to your partner?
Oh, I think I said this just the other day in another Zoom meeting. Yeah. Well, the first is never give up on things that make you happy. To be a happy spouse, never give up on what made you happy even before your marriage.
Mhm.
Don't begrudge your marriage, your spouse, for not being able to do what you please. Okay, so that's one cardinal rule for me. After all, whatever I have, I view them as God's gifts to me. So I really should be using them. And if they are those even before marriage came, why should I stop it just because I got married? So I continue with my singing, with my dancing, with my socializing, and He does not stop me. He just let me be because He knows it's going to make me happy. So continue on giving, continue on doing what gives you high. You know, when you are happy about doing those things, then go. Don't stop because you just got married.
Mhm. It's not the end of the
You
world.
want to
Tito
say
Pete,
something?
what can you add to that comment?
Well, I think Mimi has Mimi has said it all. What
No,
still
not really. I
what
just
is being
started.
said, I think, is this. Even in marriage, to keep it harmonious, you have to be yourself. Means do not adjust yourself to what is expected of you by your wife, because your wife really knows you for what you are. No pretensions of how you are. Happiness, I think, is simply living together by being yourself, and each of you accepting that's yourself. I'm putting it simply because, but there has very many other applications. But the key, be yourself and learn to accept who or what who is.
That's
Oh,
right.
yes.
So be
You
your
know,
authentic you.
Yes.
Yeah, because each is unique. Each is individually different. And so Pete has his own circle of friends. I do have mine also. I am a member of a sorority. He is not. But we always say that there are those friends that we have kept for years, you know, dating back as early as our marriage in 60s. We still had them. We still go together. So keep those circle of friends, those who stick with you no matter what. Those who will build you up. Those actually who will be with you at this stage of your life when you are already aging. Those who will build you up when you are young. You need friends who will build you up instead of just finding faults in you and asking that you do this, that you should be this. So Pete is right in saying that, yeah, we just let each other be for what we are.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's a very good tip. So, going towards the end of our interview now, going towards the end of our show, do you have any tips for couples how they can manage their time together during quarantine? And what is your advice to younger couples so that they can also experience a very nice, healthy married life like what you have right now?
I said last time we have to live as we did, no? We live a life of not wanting. We are always content with what we have, and whatever we have, we use them wisely and productively. And this applies not only with money and material things, but with time as well. Young as we are, me, when I got married, I have always been judicious, very judicious in handling and managing our resources. We have lived within our means, avoiding debts and credit cards, credit traps, by living simply. Living beyond our means does not apply to us because we even live below our means. And that keeps our financial lives in order, saving enough money for rainy days, as like this time when we are already retired with no more regular earnings, and for emergency needs. We have always tried avoiding financial stress, and that's one reason why we are happy even up to now. We do not need to depend on our children. Making it almost like obligatory for children to help. No, we're not that. We are even the ones who will give help if need be. But our children are much better off than us financially, so we also don't have that problem. But one thing is, we always kneel and say, praise God, from whom all blessings flow. And I think that's one tip I can give these young people. Always be grateful, not only directly to God, but to your parents, to your ancestors, to your elders who have given you this much for you to become what you are. And to people around you, to your circle of friends, to your colleagues, to your institutions. And that has kept me going all this time. I have always remained grateful. And I think this is something I'd like to part with. I always have this quotation, this Bible verse. Blessed is the man who puts his trust on the Lord, who trusts the Lord, who trusts in the Lord. Why? Because he'd be like a tree planted with its roots down the stream of waters.
And Tito Pete, do you have any last message or anything to add to what has already been said?
She has said it all. To reduce it to the statement, we have simplified our needs and reduced our wants. That is how simplified we live. I think that was the key to the success of marriage, not only financially, but I think in many other aspects. Simplify your needs, reduce your wants.
And look at your life as God's gift to you.
And
yes,
in all things, say, thanks God. And
That's
in all
right.
situations, have fun.
Have fun
Enjoy.
and live a life of gratefulness. Wow. Very nice message po
Yes.
from you too.
happy and healthy life.
Yes, live a happy and healthy life. Thank you very much once again for being with me today. I really appreciate your insights. I really appreciate your words of encouragement and for sharing your experiences to our viewers, to our listeners. So from that, I would like to end the show by thanking Mimi and Pete Ocampo for joining us today. Let's wave goodbye to our audience, Tito Mimi and Tito Pete. So that has been Conversations with Mimi.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you once again, and don't forget to tune
Thank
in
you,
to our
too.
future episodes.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
If you find value in this episode, make sure you like and subscribe to be notified of new releases. If you have any questions or suggestions, please reach out to Guerrilla Podcast or send us an email at mimi@dinosocial.com. Spread the word and don't forget to tune in next time.